Hello and welcome to the I Create Daily podcast. I'm LeAura Alderson.
And I'm Devani Alderson. We are the mother-daughter co-founders of the I Create Daily brand.
We are passionate about encouraging positivity, creativity, and productivity while bringing you information and resources that support your creative aspirations.
I Create Daily is for creators in every genre of creating, from musicians to writers, crafters to inventors, bloggers to entrepreneurs. So if you're into creating anything, this podcast has something for you.
So tell us, what would support you most in your journey? You can reach us at creators@icreatedaily.com.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Hello and welcome to another I Create Daily podcast episode, a movement for creators serious about their work. I'm Devani.
And I'm LeAura.
And today's our coffee breaks are about us talking about ideas, people, and inspiring things we're up to or thinking about that we think will serve you. And today we're talking about the boomers, the baby boomer generation.
Not just baby boomer generation, actually the concept of reinventing yourself. And it includes the boomer generation.
Because we got a recent comment in our group, our I Create Daily for Creators Facebook group, from a member saying that her vision included a path for helping others find their vision. And she said she saw a need in her age group, which happens to be boomers. And so we obviously love that. And we see a need for visioning work for pretty much everyone. It's something we're big on. Something I Create Daily is literally about daily creating the vision of the lifestyle that you want, the life you want to create, whatever it might be. And yeah, we just wanted to talk about that topic.
Yes.
It's a big topic.
Yes. In fact, yeah, we're huge on this reinvention thing. And you mentioned boomers, and yet I think that probably pretty much anyone in any age group will be able to identify with this concept of, saying, oh, I see friends and family struggling with not having a sense of purpose or fulfillment or, being on track. Maybe there's depression involved. And, we've written about depression and how, at its core, one of the causes of depression is that it comes from within ourselves, from our own soul, even as a way, assuming that there's the chemical part of the imbalances out of the picture. It comes, but even then, a lot of times the internal causes, like from the psyche, from the soul, can lead to chemical imbalances. So, you have to check it out and check with your own doctors and medical professionals to identify for yourself. However, and we'll link to articles that we've written that talk about how it is that whenever we're uncomfortable and depressed or anxious or whatever, that basically it's a message. It's like if our soul wanted to get our attention, how would it do that? And if we're off track with something that we could be doing with our life with a greater purpose, with more focus for our life, not just our day, but for our life in general, then it makes sense that one of the ways, we all talk about the concept of, I had a gut feeling, or my intuition said, but again, that's so those feelings of depression, of anxiety, of happiness, etc., are there to help inform us on, some of, they're like symptoms. They are emotional and mental symptoms, just like, a toothache is a symptom for something that we might need to have attended to by a dentist. Well, those symptoms of unease, of frustration, of unhappiness, depression.
It's like the emotional symptoms of, things going on.
Exactly. It's the emotional equivalent of an ache that is there to get our attention. And so what happens so often is that people get stuck in that, thinking that they need to get rid of the symptom, as opposed to what is it that, the best way to get rid of the symptom is addressing it organically by trying to identify what the message is behind that. But as a part of that, it's easy to imagine people in any generation going through phases in life of fulfillment and then dips, highs and lows, peaks and valleys, getting involved out of college, getting into a career and being excited and gung-ho and being in it for 10 or 20 years and then feeling less fulfilled by it.
And even these days, 5 years.
Yes, absolutely. 2 years, even less fulfilled by it.
Which I think is really interesting because you don't necessarily have to be in, because people are moving and shifting and everything's just moving so quickly, it seems like the benefit might be that we're starting to realize what doesn't fit quicker.
Yes. Yeah.
Which could be a good thing.
Absolutely. And and rather than getting frustrated by, so that's the thing, it's sort of like, rather than getting frustrated by frustration, instead get curious, get inquisitive, and say, what, wait a minute, no, I was just short with you. Why was I short with you? Because here's the thing, the things that frustrate us, when it is that all is going well with us internally, those things rarely faze us. Yeah. Whereas when things aren't going well internally, pretty much everything phases us.
Oh yeah, everything.
So the first place we look when we get frustrated is what we think is an external cause for that frustration, usually somebody or something that's irritating or annoying. All of those things are really just reflections, just the mirror to reflect back to us, wait a minute, that frustration originates within me. And here's kind of how you can identify the scenario. Let's say that you are driving to work late, going late to work in the morning, and now you catch every red light and every slowpoke pulls in and cuts in to get in front of you and delays it further. And your stress level, your cortisol rises, and you get increasingly frustrated, anxious, angry, whatever, road rage is a thing. Contrast that with, let's say that it's Sunday afternoon and you're out for a Sunday drive, maybe off
no time limit,
off to the park with your family, out to walk the dog, and you're just, to the dog park, whatever it may be for you that's recreational and enjoyable, maybe off to Starbucks to get your favorite afternoon treat. Then it's like, if people cut in front of you, it's like, oh, go ahead, buddy, go in, get in. Everybody is happy. Everybody is happy because there's no stress, there's no, it's a relaxing, and you're getting ready to do something you really want to do. It's contrast. So the same scenario, the same incident of someone cutting in front of you in traffic is not going to faze you when you're already settled and happy and at ease within. Yeah. But if you're on your way and you're already frustrated because you're late, maybe even you're going to a job that you don't love, then that compounds that frustration, and it really makes it increasingly hard to not have those stressors or have the least little thing cause stress. But so part of what, so it's not just, we're not doing a show on stress per se, but that's just one of the symptoms of dis-ease. And dis-ease, discomfort leads to disease if we don't address it, or can lead to disease. Stress
is such a big thing and such a big topic because so many people are feeling like stressed, frantic, and rushed, and creativity is really, we need structure around creativity sort of to feel. So sometimes those pressures help us get creative. Like we find a problem that we're frustrated with and we want to create a solution for it. But also a lot of times creativity comes so much easier when you're not pressured and stressed about everything else going on, and you're using up all the mental bandwidth for things that don't necessarily matter or things that aren't even on track. And the only way that your body is getting a message across is like depression, anxiety, whatever it is, even actually being sick more often.
Yeah. So the concept then of listening to the signals in your life, so that's one thing, and begin to try though to look at them playfully, inquisitively, and with a what's behind that, wonder why that is, and become the observer, and not the one, be the one standing back looking at the people on the roller coaster. Don't be on that ride yourself when it comes to your own emotional ups and downs. Take on the stoic approach of, just like basically, so here's another example I was thinking about just the other day. The concept of when something bad happens, one of the first things people say is, why me? Why did it happen to me? Why did this have to happen? And, or I never thought that would happen to me kind of thing. The other side of that though, is when good things happen, rarely do we say that. Rarely do we say,
why did that happen to me?
Yeah, why did that good thing happen to me? So it's sort of like, okay, so that's a perspective. And along with that, the human inclination is to try and find a reason for everything. Yeah. So if it is that a tragedy happens, like to say, well, it must have happened because, or here's another one. Let's say that you have a passion and you want to start a business. And there are a lot of obstacles that happen along the way.
Which is very true.
Actually, this is a topic that's a whole other topic. I shouldn't get into this one right now. Let's revisit this one, because this is the kind of the concept of destiny and purpose versus the interruptions to that, the signals that might trip us up that may or may not need to.
Like part 2.
I think this might be part 2. So yeah, because I'm just like what you're hearing, kind of like roving thoughts that go on in my head along these subjects. So let's get back on track. So sorry about that, but let's get back on track to the concept of reinvention. And it's important for us all to recognize that can happen at any moment of any day on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So it is the concept that just because yesterday I approached a certain problem or a certain job or a certain relationship in a certain way doesn't mean that I have to continue that in that way, especially if it's negative.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, same thing with the boomers, like, the difference in boomers, like baby boomers go through struggles relative to, we're in aging bodies. So I'm a baby boomer, I'm in an aging body, and when you're living in the aging body, the younger people haven't quite experienced that yet, where you think that the person that you identify as you is like almost like decaying in front of your eyes, is like withering and dwindling in front of your eyes. And it seems like it's like an old house that needs upkeep. And there are only so many things that you can do to improve it. And it's like, you begin to feel like you're losing, if you're identified with the external you're beginning to feel that you're losing youthfulness and that you're losing life itself. That's the myth that we need to change. Yes, we're aging, but at 60, I'm fully looking forward to the next amazing 40 years of my life or so, 40 or 50 years at the rate of medical advancements, and we taking good care of ourselves.
Yeah.
So I do remember, though, being around 35 or something and catching a glimpse of these furrows in my brow that wouldn't go away when I stopped frowning, like I tend to have frown and concentration. We were talking about that the other day. Oh gosh, we're creating more furrows to frown and thinking. But, so it's like when you begin to see those marks of aging on yourself, or you begin to feel that ache and pain, traditionally are indoctrinated to say and think, I must be getting old. I must be getting old. Therefore, because I can't get up as well from this couch.
So instead, just say, gosh, I must be thinking, and be glad
for the frown. But let's change that.
Yeah.
Change that terminology. Instead of I must be getting old, just like you were feeling depressed or upset or whatever, instead of, oh, so-and-so did this to me, ask ourselves, why did this bother me? And what's going on within me that is trying to get my attention? Similarly, when we say I must be getting old because it's harder to get up, then what our body is telling us is that it needs our attention. Mm-hmm. It needs us to strengthen our muscles so that we can more easily get up. It needs us to take care of our skin so that we help the wrinkles as much as possible. And it's also telling us to remember that no matter what's going on the outside, we know we feel the same inside and very much alive and vibrant and enthusiastic, or can feel enthusiastic about life, no matter the age.
Yeah.
So let it's sort of like when the physical begins to dwindle, sort of like in the woods, as the leaves start to disappear and fall. It goes from, vibrance and fullness and busyness of summer, and then it goes to the beauty of fall, where the colors shine and all that we've had, all that we've produced, is revealed in beautiful colors. And then it goes to winter, where things become more clear. So yes, it's not as beautiful. The physical is not as beautiful. It may not be as flourishing in appearance, but it is showing the beautiful structure and revealing more clarity.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know, you look like you're flourishing though. So there's that.
Well, thank you. That's wonderful.
Like, where's this DK you speak of?
Well, but you see, so it comes, it comes from, so recognizing that, tend to yourself, tend to your body, recognize that it is here for you if you're there for it. So you have to care for yourself and pay attention to your dreams, because your dreams are the serum that may keep you young from the inside
and
out.
It's not even an age thing, because I think everybody, like, we all, like, I guess fortunately it's a good thing we don't all look at ourselves and be like, oh, we're perfect gods. Like, you know, just be kind of awkward. But at the same time, I think we all, regardless of age, we have, and sometimes it's a societal thing, and sometimes it's just our self-conscious instinct or whatever to see all our flaws. It's the same thing of when you're analyzing your own work, you immediately just see all the things you wish were there but maybe aren't, or things that you wish weren't there and are. And where was I going with this? Well, I think it's just another, like, it's a mindset of not over analyzing what you have to work with, and then also being able to reinvent at any moment, like you were saying. I mean, we're recording this, it's June, so we're halfway through 2019 as of this recording, which means it's that maybe the wave in terms of reinvention. It's like, oh my gosh, half the year's gone, and I had all these things and I was so excited. And well, you can just be excited again, like, just tomorrow's tomorrow. And it's kind of about, I guess what you were saying is, like, there's the summer and the vitality of spring and summer, and then fall and winter, it's like the time to, you can either hibernate or you can decide, well, I'm going to be inside and I'm going to use this time to focus more and to get clear.
Right.
And to allow that energy instead of all this, you know, doing things, being busy, but not necessarily getting anything done.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that has its season too. But again, back to the point of reinvention, it's like you can do it to your life, you can do it to your health, and you can do it to your work.
Yes.
And absolutely. You can view it in season. So sure, if you have adventures you want to do in spring and summer, do them.
Right.
But yeah,
so no matter your circumstance, sorry, we just see that somebody looks like somebody's trying to come into our waiting room. Well, let's pause it for a second, Devani, and see, make sure we're not. Oh, sorry, I think we're good. Looked like somebody was trying to come into our meeting room, and we wanted to make sure that we hadn't forgotten a guest interview that was, so it was just somebody that was testing the link, so no problem. Okay, back to the kind of the reinvention is just realize that whatever has been isn't what has to always be. And that the way to keep growing and developing in your life all the days of your life is to look at the adventure in each new day. Look at it as if when we're on vacation, one of the things that people love about travel is that it heightens our senses because we're not in the dullness of routine. When we're in the dullness of routine, we could go through in a family, or in a workplace, and barely even notice what each other is wearing, how each other is, what color. Like, Devani could leave the room, and if I was really busy focused, then somebody were to come in and say, what color is Devani wearing today? I may not even remember if I'm so immersed in my routine or in my focus and what I'm doing. So it's
if I always wear black and that's just kind of the default, and I happen to wear another color, and you're like, obviously it's black.
Yeah.
I wore green just for you today, just to mix it up.
Right. So, it's back to the concept of, in our relationships, remembering to greet each other from the heart, from the mind, and from consciousness, including ourselves.
Wake up in the morning. That's such a good point, because there's this tendency to, like, familiarity creates routine and almost a sense of boredom, maybe. Yeah. And so even reinventing your relationships and remembering that you can always get curious with the people. Yeah. Like, if you're in an environment where maybe the relationships are kind of stale, whether that's family, whether it's friends, whether it's an intimate relationship, and that seems to be getting, like, we don't really talk about important things anymore, there's no excitement around it. It's like, well, maybe it's up to each of us internally to initiate the curiosity of, like, oh, how was your day? And, why did you not feel so good today? Just explore that, because we all want people to notice us, and that, or not necessarily to notice us, but to care, to be curious, and that can just bring a freshness in the people around you too, so that as you're becoming more energized in your day and in each moment, you're also doing your best to sort of spread that around to your immediate environment, because environment is important to your energy levels.
What you're speaking to is presence.
Yeah.
So when we are more present, then we are bringing more of ourselves to whatever it is we're doing. And when we're doing that, then we're also connecting more with ourselves and with the more important aspects of ourselves, our consciousness. So boomers, recognize that you have a tremendous amount of experience and wisdom from your years that the world needs. And don't become the one who is, I don't know how to handle this. The digital age is moving too quickly, and I don't know how to learn this or that. Don't diss millennials for being so connected to technology, and don't diss boomers, millennials, for being, reticent to, because the thing is that as we age, we have so many more. Here's the common metaphor that everyone will understand. Our RAM is shorter. We run out of RAM, the random access memory, because we have so much more going on. We have a very full drive, basically, of memories and lifetime of experiences. And so we may not be as quick. We may not be able to flick back and forth as quick. But for those of us who are aging, the more we do to learn something new each day, to practice presence, to become more aware, the more we will keep our mind and brain agile, and especially attend to the basics, the basic requirements of nutrients of our body, exercise, and healthy foods to fuel it. But if it is that you're approaching that, it's incredible if you're a baby boomer and you're at the place of now what? Or you may be middle-aged, going through a midlife crisis, which these days is around 50, right? Mid-age these days. So really there are a number of different middle ages these days.
Like quarter-life crisis.
Quarter life.
In your 40s crisis.
Yeah, exactly.
In your 60s crisis.
Yeah, three-quarters crisis.
And it seems like maybe that's like intentional. Like these are cycles in your life where not only are you transitioning age-wise, and I don't think age is necessarily that important, but just sort of the chunks of time where your life is saying, hey, let's rattle this routine.
Right. Right.
And let's explore something different.
Right.
Even if it's like a different creative field, which could be scary if you have become known for a specific thing, because we do like labels and categorizing things like I'm a this or I'm a that, and I've been known for this thing, and I do speaks on that, and I do public speaking for this thing, or I'm the artist, or I'm the influencer in this genre. Like it can be scary to switch lanes and do something new, because then you're the beginner again. You're not the leader.
Right.
And if you're sort of a creator / entrepreneur, like you want to be the leader.
Right.
But, whoever said it, tons of people have said it, about being a beginner first.
Right.
And just being a beginner again, and just always keeping that mindset of, wow, there's so much to learn and be curious about.
And the rain is coming, so we need to wrap this up. But the concept is...
the weather can change on a dime, so can we, right?
So can we, absolutely, and hopefully for the better. But so the young folks, like the millennials, there are so many incredibly inspiring and wise young people and millennials these days, and similarly boomers. So don't let your constrictions of who you've always been keep you from becoming more of who you can become, because you're really here to become that, more of who you can become. And you will never regret every effort and every step in that direction, because that is where the fulfillment lives.
Boom.
All right.
Boom.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks so much for joining us for the I Create Daily podcast. Please let us know what creatives you would like us to interview and what topics you would be interested in hearing more about.
And if you enjoyed this show, please leave a review on iTunes. We value your feedback. We read all the reviews, and it just helps us get the word out on the I Create Daily podcast. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.